Assalamualaikum, good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests and participants of the 14th Fully Residential Schools International Symposium 2026. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges today. The Chief Judge is Ms. Aisha binti Haji Uthman, Form 6 English Language Excellent Teacher from Darul Aman English Language Learning and Teaching Association. The second judge is Dr. Nasharil Nazrin bin Ramli from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah. The third judge is Ms. Kau Hyu Jing from Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Syed Putra. And I, Nur Kalisha Damia binti Zuhelmi from Sekolah Menengah Sains Seri Putri, and Ms. Iza Atira binti Radi Hussein from Sekolah Menengah Sains Alor Gajah, while the timekeepers Hana Nadzira binti Muhammad Rashidi and Raja Muhammad Hilmi bin Raja Abdullah are from Academy Science Pendang, Kedah. Now allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation.
Now, I would like to invite the first team, Sekolah Tun Fatimah, to present.
Imagine we are playing Monopoly right now. You roll the dice, pass go, collect your allowance. Life feels good, doesn't it? But what if you don't actually know the strategy to play the game? How will you play, let alone win, when all you do is spend each time it's your turn? But before that, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I bid to honorable judges, meticulous timekeepers, teachers, and all players of the board. I'm Iman Isha as presenter and reporter.
I'm Mariam Zara as the presenter and technical assistant.
I'm Nur Alawiyah as presenter and moderator.
And Madam Reza is our teacher advisor. Nowadays, in this digitalized world, you cannot run away from social media, as even businesses turn to social media to attract people and increase audience. For example, TikTok. TikTok Shop lets users buy products without actually leaving the app, making purchasing even much more easier than it already was. It traps youth in a cycle of impulsive spending, making even the most unnecessary purchases feel like an absolute must-have in the heat of the moment. Southeast Asian gross merchandise value of TikTok Shop has increased from 4.4 billion in 2022 to 45.6 billion in less than 4 years. Now, get this. This is 71% of TikTok Shop's global merchandise value, which means Southeast Asia isn't just a market for TikTok Shop, it is the market. The regional breakdown shows that Malaysia has increased from 2 billion to 5 billion alone. Every market doubled down year over year in 2025. That is why we will be addressing the problem on why social media is responsible for the downfall of behavior and financial decision making of youth, particularly in this age of digital consumerism. Why is this happening? First, shopping on TikTok is discovery driven. Unlike traditional e-commerce where you have to search to find an item, TikTok's algorithm ensures that the product finds you. Second, TikTok is a frictionless market. The friction is what makes buyers stop and think before they purchase a product. On TikTok Shop, you can just purchase anything with a click of a button. Third, parasocial trust and urgency. Based on our research, we can say that friends hold the most power in influencing purchases at 58.5%. This trust in friends turns into immediate urgency to acquire the same things they do. Panel, some may argue that, most students have limited screen time. Although they do, they are still not fully isolated on being exposed and influenced on what they eat, wear, and buy. That is why everything is compounded to a low understanding of financial literacy. When youth lack the optimum degree of understanding, they become vulnerable and have zero defense mechanisms against the frictionless market. In our research, we aim to investigate youth's purchasing behavior and to understand how much does youth truly know and understand financial literacy. At the end of the day, we aim to raise awareness and responsibility regarding financial literacy among youth, because wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. I pass the floor to Mariam Zara.
Now, our qualitative approach relied on two critical sources. First, we conducted an extensive review of scholarly articles. Then, we had an in-depth interview with a microeconomist, Dr. Hebat Hashim. Next, we launched a qualitative online survey, which consists of 340 respondents between the age of 13 to 17 years old. Now, let's move on to our data analysis. Based on our findings, TikTok has found to become the primary platform for youth, where they are exposed to product recommendations that are able to dictate what they purchase. In fact, 73.4% of our respondents has admitted to purchasing something after viewing this content. However, 55.3% of our respondents then admitted to regretting an online purchase at the end of the day. This proves a lack of adequate financial literacy panel. But if you would look at this pie chart, the 95.1% are youth who aren't blind to their struggles, which is exactly why they are agreeing to this need of financial education. And to answer that call for need, we turned towards our qualitative research. But rather than isolating the whole interview in one single slide, we have decided to embed the output throughout our entire presentation. Now, let's move on to the core question of our research. What is financial literacy? It means the practical skills and knowledge to manage money wisely and plan for your future. However, the true definition does not stay static. Why? Because noted by researchers, a focused scope does not limit a study. Rather, it gives it clarity. That is why, in order for us to truly understand how digital trends influence the spending habits among youth, we have to study the cohort that experiences this influence daily, which are in urban areas such as Putrajaya and Johor Bahru. The youth financial literacy there has now been translated into their frictionless spending, assets they've accumulated through their parents, and their involvement in businesses. But does living in a digitalized environment mean these teens know how to manage their money? To answer that, Dr. Hebat stated that youth do have a basic understanding of financial literacy. That is why we see our respondents saying they do save a part of their money and they do compare their needs versus wants. However, the difference is the degree of understanding that these different cohorts possess. And this difference exists due to the gap of financial education exposure and their socioeconomic background. Although we strongly agree with that statement, we would like to further narrow it down to argue that being immersed in a digitalized environment further contributes towards financially illiterate behavior, because a teen might know how to manage physical cash. But understand this, when we enter the frictionless market, that system ultimately overpowers that basic knowledge. And that is why we are here today, to empower youth and ensure that our cohort's degree of understanding is matched with the digital era today. And with that, I pass the floor to my teammate.
As we can see, our data allows us to project clear future predictions. Current generation relies on credit cards, and this is the mindset embedded in our generation for a long time. First, lack of financial security. Youth experience non-existent emergency expenses, fear, and vulnerability. For instance, youth depends on loans and credit cards, and this results in a never-ending paradox of debt. Second, difficulty distinguishing needs versus wants. For instance, prioritizing its non-essential desires over essential living costs is normalized, and this results in poor financial habits that will soon affect their future. Next. Now, let's move on to our challenges, because success does not come without its challenges. First, government and policymakers face outdated frameworks. What does outdated frameworks mean? It means it refers to the mindset that kids cannot understand money and kids are so young to go to that. So financial literacy is not structurally put into education. Thus, empowering youth does not help. It restricts them. Next, individuals and family institutions are one of the causes of limited exposure to its financial practice. When parents live paycheck to paycheck, it generationally pass poor financial habits and leave the youth to have to start their financial lives without financial literacy. And next, the behavior of a human being can only be altered through education, quoted by our interviewee, which is Dr. Hebat Hashim. Now, we bring two core initiatives and solutions, which are first, promoting budgeting practices such as the 50-30-20 rule. This rule clearly states that 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% goes directly into your savings. And second, awareness campaign. We must meet the youth where they're exactly at. Where? Social media. Next, talks. We've put into practice twice by promoting financial awareness, in which we found an increase in understanding of financial literacy, and we know this by giving surveys of pre and post surveys during our talks. Now, let's move on to our impacts. Youth financial security is strengthened, and when this happens, debt is no longer a worry. And it enables the ability to climb up social status, and it allows our players to accumulate wealth, create connections, and invest wisely. And by doing this, we will see less or even zero Malaysians living under the poverty line. And as clearly stated in the Al-Quran, do not spend wastefully. Indeed, the wastefuls are brothers of the devil. To conclude it up, youth are constantly exposed to trends on TikTok that alters their purchasing behavior. Impulsive buying thrives when strong financial knowledge is absent. Therefore, empowering our youth with financial literacy is the ultimate shield against poverty. Stand for non-poverty and stand with Sekolah Tun Fatimah. Thank you. We are youth at the helm,
steering the world towards a better and resilient future.
sustainable future. We open the floor to questions.
Now,
Yes.
excuse me. It's the turn for the judges to ask the question. We are not opening the session for the floor, right? Okay. Congratulations, girls, ladies.
Thank
This is my question. What is your personal opinion about impulsive buying?
In our opinion, impulsive buying brings towards very bad behavior because that just shows financially illiterate behavior, as we've stated before. Impulsive buying happens due to the exposure of TikTok Shop when it promotes frictionless spending, and youth thrive with this because TikTok Shop is discovery driven. Youth almost, I'm sure that in this room, half of the people owns TikTok and has scrolled through TikTok before. And when they are discovery driven, they are tend to impulsive buy because of the parasocial trust and urgency and their lack of financial education. As I showed you before in our slides, the analytics shows that they agreed to financial education and their degree of understanding is low. Maybe we could say a little above average, but it's not enough to counter the system of frictionless spending. And I think impulsive buying is really bad because it promotes financial literacy and will bring a really bad impact towards the individual in the future.
That's. I think we have time for another question, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So my question is understanding that SDG 1 is at the highest level of sustainable development goal, which is to end poverty. My question is, how does financial literacy or impulsive buying or mismanagement end poverty?
Mismanagement and poverty. So,
Okay, as I said before, in our impacts, financial literacy ends poverty by strengthening the financial security. Financial security means that they have enough money for their future. That means if they go to the hospital, if they went into an accident or anything that needs money for their future, they have the money. So by having financial literacy, they will have money saved up in the bank so that they won't end up being bankrupt or in loans with anyone. Thank you.
Thank you to Sekolah Tun Fatimah.
Thank you.
tentative timekeepers, moderators, and members of the floor. We, the representatives from SVP Integrasi Tun Abdul Razak, will be presenting under sub-theme 1, Breaking Barriers, Empowering Youth to End Poverty, with the title, Equipping Youth with Skills to Combat Poverty, Bridging the Gap Between Skills and Employment. Now, before we go on to our presentation, I would like to introduce to you our team members. I, Asma Zahira, as the main presenter, Wan Marisha Surfina as the second presenter and moderator, Izani Hasri as the technical assistant, and our lovely team advisor, Miss Iman. Now, back onto our presentation. Our presentation is closely relatable to Sustainable Development Goal 1, SDG 1, which is no poverty. This goal aims to end poverty in all its forms by ensuring equal access to education, healthcare, employment opportunities, and basic necessities for all individuals. Before we discuss our findings, it is important to understand what poverty actually means. So, what is poverty? Poverty is a socio-economic state where individuals or communities lack the sufficient financial resources for an acceptable standard of living. Poverty does not only affect income levels, but also influences the access to education, healthcare, employment, and opportunities for personal development. As we can see from this slide, we can see that Malaysia's economy is growing steadily, driven by consumer spending and business investments. However, despite this improvement, many communities in Malaysia still face poverty due to lack of education and low wages and also unemployment. And this is actually very closely relatable to our problem statement. The main problem identified in our study is that high unemployment and limited access to practical skills continue to restrict local potential. Many individuals, especially young people, possess the desire to improve their lives but often lack the opportunities and resources needed to do so. In addition, poverty can also be caused by school dropout issues. Financial difficulties often force students to leave school early, entering the workforce to support their families, creating a cycle where a lack of education causes, a lack of education results in fewer employments and continued poverty. So from what we have, we can say that school dropout issues causes lack of education, which all leads to an endless cycle of poverty. So our research focuses on understanding the relationship between poverty, education, employment, and youth empowerment. Thank you. I will now pass the slide to Marisha, who will be explaining our objectives, methodology, and findings.
Thank you, Asma Zaira. The objectives of our research was to identify how the lack of education and skills contributes to poverty. Secondly, we aim to examine how poverty affects youth. Finally, we sought to provide practical solutions to help reduce poverty rates in Malaysia. To achieve our objectives, we have conducted a quantitative survey to gather public opinions regarding poverty and its causes. Our findings revealed several important trends. Firstly, 55.6% of respondents strongly agreed that poverty limits educational opportunities, especially for young people. This demonstrates how poverty and education are closely interconnected. Secondly, 58.3% of respondents stated that the lack of education is a very significant factor contributing to poverty, while another 38.3% of respondents somewhat agree. This indicates that education is this indicates that education plays a crucial role in improving economic opportunities. Furthermore, 55.6% of respondents strongly agreed that unemployment is a major cause of poverty, while another 19.4% of respondents agreed. This suggests that unemployment remains one of the major drivers of poverty. To further support our findings, we have conducted several interviews which involve teenagers, teachers, and a housing census. To gain deeper insight, the following video and slide presents one of the key highlights of our interview.
Apabila mereka menyambung pengajian dalam bidang TVET, ya, selepas tamat sahaja pengajian, mereka mempunyai kebolehpasaran yang lebih luas. Iaitu sama ada bekerja dengan mana-mana syarikat ataupun bekerja sendiri seperti menjadi usahawan. Jadi secara tak langsung masa untuk mereka mendapatkan pekerjaan ataupun tempoh masa menganggur itu adalah sangat singkat jika dibandingkan dengan mereka yang menyambung pengajian dalam bidang selain daripada TVET.
One key finding that could be emerged from our research is that although poverty rates in Malaysia has successfully declined, the rising living costs and different poverty levels continue to affect many communities. Therefore, sustained efforts are needed to improve a better quality of life for all. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Asma Zaira to continue present our proposed solution. Thank you.
Based on our findings, the solution we propose is the expansion and promotion of technical and vocational education and training, commonly known as TVET. Why TVET? TVET provides students with practical, industry-relevant skills that prepare them directly for employment. Unlike traditional academic pathways, TVET focuses on hands-on learning and equips students with the skills that are highly demanded by employers. One of the strongest arguments in favor of TVET is its high employability rate. According to Bernama, more than 94% of TVET graduates successfully obtain employment after completing their programs. This means that TVET significantly reduces unemployment and helps individuals achieve financial independence. Moreover, TVET provides entrepreneurial skills that enables graduates to start their own businesses. As a result, graduates can not only create income for themselves, but also open job opportunities for others. TVET also benefits youth by increasing their chances of securing stable employment, earning better salaries, supporting their families, and improve their overall quality of life. And most importantly, TVET helps families escape poverty and secure a brighter future. So, to make things simple, we can say that TVET helps youth earn better salaries and support their families, reduces unemployment among young people, increases chances of getting stable employment, and improves quality of life and helps families escape poverty. This following slide also shows the decrease in Malaysia's poverty rate. And finally, to conclude, poverty remains a major challenge despite improvements in Malaysia's poverty rates. Our findings show that lack of education and skills are the main causes of poverty. Therefore, empowering youth through TVETs can serve as an effective long-term solution. By providing practical skills, increasing employability, and opening economic opportunities, TVET helps young people break the cycle of poverty and contribute to a more resilient and sustainable future. Thank you for your attention. That's all from us, and we will be happy to answer any questions.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Yes. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation over there. I only have one question with me. I think it is well known to all of us that there's a need to empower TVET. Is what you are promoting there, and I applaud you for that. My question is, why is it that TVET is getting traction in a sense that the government, or even what you're doing right now, is you're promoting TVET, isn't it? So there's a struggle to convince youth to actually take on TVET. Why is that?
That's so TVET actually is open to all actually. TVET is TVET opens the program to all, whether it's a government or freelance. TVET is actually everything. We do skills every day. If we cook something, that's TVET, that is skill. If we can just sells like sweets or sells clothes, yes, that's TVET. If we can create clothes, then that is TVET, because skills is actually everything. TVET in our life, we actually use TVET in our everyday life. So to sum up, TVET is actually everything. Like you can create clothes, you can sell sweets, then you can everything. Just to
All right, thank you for the answer. Yeah, I agree actually. TVET is I think one key point that you mentioned over there was TVET, the skills that are important, isn't it? Thank you very much for your answer. Any more questions from judges, or are we good?
All right, good morning. Okay, based on your slides, I think you mentioned that youths earn better salary to support their families in your conclusion. Am I right? I would like to ask, is there any proof or article to support that statement? Thank you.
Let me rewind the slide.
So thank you for the question. That's a very good question. So as we can see here, the articles that we refer to is from Bernama. TVET graduates employability rates reaches to 94.5%, which state that we can see TVET helps reduce poverty in Malaysia by increasing employability and income opportunities. So since over 94% TVET graduates obtain employment, then it reduces financial hardship. So with that, we can see that TVET actually help the youth and also helps the youth reduce the rates of poverty in their family. So thank you. I hope that answer your questions.
All right, thank you, because just now you went too fast, so we didn't get to see this clearly. Thank you for your explanation.
You're welcome.
Thank you to Sekolah Berasrama Penuh Integrasi Tun Abdul Razak.
to invite the third team, Sekolah Menengah Sains Raja Tun Azlan Shah, to present.
From poverty to possibility, how can one business make a difference? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to the esteemed panel of judges, respected teachers, my dedicated teammates, and last but not least, members participating on this majestic floor. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself for an experience that will challenge, inspire, and ignite creativity. Please welcome us, your presenters, Kaisara Sofia
And Iklina Kalisa,
to take you on this exciting journey.
we are Seratas Versus Team. Today, we are honored to welcome everyone to our presentation titled Typing Living, Transforming Waste into Opportunities. This title reflects our commitment to the overarching theme, Youth at the Helm, steering the world towards a resilient and sustainable future. Our focus narrows down to the sub-theme Breaking Barriers, Empowering Youth to End Poverty, which align with Sustainable Development Goal 1, No Poverty. Before we start, let me introduce you to our supervising teacher and technical assistant. As we go along with the presentation, you will find various parts explaining about our research.
For starters, our research focuses on a small business called Typing Living Resources. This business was established by a young entrepreneur who just came back to Malaysia last year after living in Europe for over a decade. This business, the woman shown here, is actually the owner and founder of Typing Living Resources. For your information, we did an online interview with the owner, and she mentioned that this business creates income-generating opportunities for local residents while also promoting environmental sustainability. This business involves changing waste into eco-friendly handmade items and selling them. Iklil, do you know what is poverty trap?
No, Kai, I don't. What is exactly poverty trap?
Well, according to Dr. Nur Hafizah binti Abdul Latif Khan, a lecturer from Sultan Azlan Shah University, poverty trap is a cycle where low-income individuals have limited opportunities to improve their lives. This business was established to break that cycle, promoting entrepreneurship and skills development, helping people create better opportunities to improve their living standards. So, Typing Living is making a real difference. But was it always smooth sailing?
Not quite. Like any growing businesses, it faces a few challenges along the way. First, not everyone is familiar with eco-friendly handmade products. Many customers still prefer cheaper conventional options. Next challenge is funding. Limited capital can make it harder to grow their businesses, improve products, and reach more customers. Even so, these challenges don't stop Typing Living. With greater support, better promotion, and increased awareness, it can continue turning waste into opportunities and creating a positive impact for both people and the environment.
Iklil, where are we actually finding out?
Actually, Kai, the goals for this business is clear. We're focusing on three key aspects. Essentially, we're looking at how Typing Living can boost local income, heal the environment through recycling, and ultimately use eco-friendly businesses to fight poverty. This is our visual overview of our research objectives. Next, for the methodology, we use mixed method methodology, which includes qualitative and quantitative method. On the screen, you'll see our methods of methodology.
For key findings, were focuses on education, economic, and psychology.
Iqlil, how does green tea vat helps reduce poverty in Malaysia?
Actually, good question, guys. Green Tea Vat supports the goals of the 13 Malaysia Plan, which was introduced by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. It focuses on reducing poverty while promoting sustainable development.
So, what are the benefits?
Firstly, Green Tea Vat creates more job opportunities. It prepares people for growing industries such as renewable energy, recycling, and waste management, where skilled workers are increasingly needed.
That's great, but getting a job isn't enough, right? People also need the right skills.
Exactly, Kai. Green Tea Vat helps people gain more practical green skills that make them more employable and even encourage them to start up their own sustainable businesses. Green Tea Vat also promotes sustainable lifestyles and helps, helps improve the overall well-being of communities.
There are also a few impacts from the Taiping living model. One of them is economic impact, which means that this business can supply income for local residents while by selling products. This will attract the community since the business is eco-friendly and the items are handcrafted. Next is environmental impact, which can help to reduce environmental waste while practicing recycling initiatives. Lastly is social impact that can encourage the community to take part in sustainable economic activities. Next, our findings show that the Madani and script values plays an important role in reducing poverty through sustainability, care and compassion, respect, innovation, prosperity, and trust. Communities can gain better opportunities, skills, and support. Together, these values can create a more sustainable and prosperous future for everyone. Apart from that, we surveyed 150 respondents through a questionnaire, and on the screen, you'll see key details about them.
On the screen, you'll see that half of the respondents agree that young entrepreneurs have the capability and the right skills to build small businesses. Next, this pie chart indicates that majority of the respondents agree that Taiping Living providing fair incomes and job skills opportunities to low-income communities.
When asked if they would buy a well-designed upcycled handmade item at a higher price, 49.3% of the respondents said yes, but only if the price difference was small. We have come up with some recommendations to help alleviate poverty, empower entrepreneurs through startup fundings and government grants. By easing financial barriers, businesses can grow, create more jobs, and drive sustainable poverty reduction and economic growth. Next is embrace digital platforms and e-commerce such as Shopee, TikTok Shop, Instagram, and Facebook to expand market reach and boost sales.
Another powerful way to tackle poverty is through encouraging partnerships and collaboration with NGOs. NGOs can provide support, expertise, and resources to local communities. Next, providing mentorship training and workshops equips individuals with valuable business skills that help them to start up their own businesses. In conclusion, this research shows that sustainable entrepreneurship and the right support can help alleviate poverty and improve people's lives.
By providing knowledge, skills, and opportunities, communities can achieve long-term growth and enjoy a better quality of life.
Do you want to see magic? Ta-da! This is a product from Taiping Living Businesses. It is a 100% handmade shopping bag from used clothes.
Today, we presented more than just a research. We presented hope. Because when innovation meets compassion, poverty loses its power. And that future starts with us. Thank you. Now we are open to some questions.
Very good morning.
Morning.
I noticed that you have conducted the online survey to two different groups of respondents based on your slides.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned that you have conducted the online survey towards the Form 4 students in Seratas and also 13 to 16 years old teenagers or students, right? Why? Okay, what makes you decide to only target the Form 4 students as your respondents?
Well, actually, according to our slides, the reason we focus is on Form 4 students, mostly Form 4 students, because we are targeting teenagers because we want to test how they think about our theme, which is to end poverty, and we want to see the accuracy of how a youth or youngsters nowadays think of these issues.
Can you remind me again for did you actually interview that lady, Carolyn Ong?
Yes.
Is she your main and one only respondent for interview?
Next to
DMD.
Yes, actually, we interviewed her through a questionnaire. First, we reached out through Instagram and WhatsApp, and then only we sent her a questionnaire to answer some. We want to know more key details about her business, and that is where we found out about how she actually turns the waste or the used clothes into those kinds of bags, and how actually she thinks of how her business can actually help youngsters or in general to end poverty.
So the bag is actually hers?
Yes.
Ah,
We
interesting.
bought from this business.
Actually,
Give it to them.
actually we prepared.
More
we bought-
examples. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is for you guys.
Okay. I thought it was a very good idea, and I like. I think it's a good thing that you're going locally and
That's right.
looking for what is available around you.
Yeah.
That was a good idea as well, and good job on that. I think that's pretty much it from all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you to Sekolah Menengah Sains Raja Tun Azlan Shah.
Now, I would like to invite the fourth team, Maktam Tentera Diraja, to present their findings.
Rimat Mipin.
Ladies and Ladies and gentlemen, an unfortunate status quo that is currently happening in Malaysia right now, as I'm on this stage, is that 16.7% of Malaysians are struggling with the vicious cycle of poverty. Now, that might not seem a lot, but convert that into units of amount of people. That will be 5.6 million Malaysians that are struggling with poverty. And that is not something good for our beloved nation.
Well, the question remains, how do we who is going to lead people to break the cycle of poverty? How are they going to do it? And how will they have the knowledge and the experience to actually make an impact towards their family? Well, we introduce to you
Transit Homes,
a
a
glorified
journey
sanctuary
to
to
defeat
defeat poverty.
poverty.
My name is Raihan, but you can call me Tony.
I'm Adam, and call me Rook.
Okay, so let's look at the scopes of our presentation. Firstly, we're going to tell you what the problem actually is, and we're going to define the problems, and we're also going to be defining the solutions to the problems. And we're going to set goals that through our structure system, hopefully we can achieve. And lastly, we're going to conclude our entire presentation. So, what is actually the problem? Well, the communities, especially young people, that they are stuck in a relentless cycle of poverty, not necessarily because they don't work hard enough, but it's because that they lack of opportunities, guidance, and support. And the current economic hardship of the world right now only adds fuel to the fire, as it makes it harder for them to actually break this vicious cycle.
Now the problem statement clearly set. Now we'd like to move on to the goals that we set so that we can see what we actually want to achieve from the mission to defeat this vicious monster of poverty. So number one, we would like to be expanding the potential of the youth so that the potential of the youth can be used later on in the future when they reach adulthood. Second, we would like to be breaking the cycle of poverty. Now, the idea of ending poverty sounds impossible and theoretical. But the concept of breaking the cycle of poverty is actually quite practical, and this can actually lead to the end of poverty. Third are the life skills development in the transit homes that will be taught later on. And last but not least is employment readiness to work in workforces and industrial sectors that are understaffed. Next, please. Now that we actually understand our goals and problem statement, now I'd like to be moving on. What is the meaning of empowering youth? So empowering youth means equipping young people with the tools, knowledge, and confidence to take control of their lives. So why is this important? So as we all know, we want the youth to not only be the future participants and observers, but we want them to be the future builders. That means we would like to ensure a safe future that is also stable. This is where the youth come to play. Now, we'd like to move on to our main topic. What is a transit home? So, in a complex explanation, transit homes are structured temporary shelters designed to provide individuals and families with interim stability, while also acting as a vital stepping stone to help people experiencing homelessness acquire the life skills and resources needed to transition into independent and permanent housing. In simple words, transit homes are like boarding schools that are fully funded by the government, where the people in there are met with accommodations, necessities, and needs to be surviving in there as long as they need until they are able to get back on their feet.
So you might be wondering, what will the youth gain through our transit homes? So our transit homes offer hands-on experiences on the fields that they want to study. So even if they don't focus on the study in the transit homes, the least they will get is actually a safe environment temporarily, so they can maybe get back up on their feet. And our transit home guarantees opportunities in employment through the certificate that prove that they have learned the skill. When the youth get out of transit homes, they will receive a certificate that shows that they have learned vulnerable life skills education. So to make this clear, the certificate will make it easier for the youth to get jobs in a understaffed field. For example, the chefs, the managers, the rubber tappers, and the modern farmers. So these jobs, they are important for the nation, but they are severely understaffed. So what this certificate guarantees, it does not guarantee that in one lifetime they will get rich. What it guarantees is that their future generations, that their children can actually receive education because their fathers have a sustainable source of income.
All right, so moving on, what will we actually teach in this transit homes? So here on screen, we have the life skills education in a transit home. So what do these all have in common is that we teach courses and fields that are currently having high demand but low interest. This basically means that we need these fields, but we do not have it, but not many people want to work as a farmer or a cook. So this is what we are trying to press. Why? Because our target audience are poor but low academically youth. This basically means they are poor, but they cannot they cannot afford to learn professional subjects like math and science. So we're gonna teach them basic skills so that in the future they can use that to their advantage. So some of the things that we teach in this transit home are entrepreneurship, goal settings, cooking, and also household management. Now moving on. So we're starting off strong with entrepreneurship, the mastery of business. This can be applied to almost anywhere, and this used to build huge corporate companies. And not only that, but this can also use to start small businesses that can put the youth when they reach adulthood at a comfortable level so that they will not face the suffering of poverty. So what will the youth be able to do when they learn this course? So number one, they'll be able to identify the challenges and unmet needs. Second, they will be able to create sustainable sources of income. Third, break cycles of poverty and dependency. And last but not least, become the agents of change. So moving on to the next slide. Next is a rather complex subject, but it's still good for this youth to learn, which is goal settings. Now, what is this actually about? This is a skill where it empowers youth by helping them turn their aspirations into clear, actionable plans while also guiding them to make responsible choices that contribute to the long-term sustainability of the world. Now, this is taught so that they can make the right choices at the right time. And as the old saying goes, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now, moving on. The third course that is focused here is household management. Now, this encourages sustainable living habits by conserving resources, which helps families maintain lower living costs while also contributing to economic stability for future generations. Now, this skill is not only useful when the youth reach adulthood and they want to become parents, so they have to learn how to manage their household at the right circumstances. But this is also good for managers and also future leaders. And last but not least, we have cooking. Now, cooking may look like a simple skill that we can learn off YouTube. Like we just search up how to cook eggs, how to bake cake. Yes, that is right. But remember our target audience, poor and lower academically youth. This means that they have struggled to understand things, not like other students. They're slow paced, but that's all right. It's fine. This is why we put that into our transit home subjects so that we can give them a clear and structured guide into cooking so that it can be used to become a chef, baker, and they can open up the restaurant someday. And who doesn't love food? So this is actually a very good skill, and I think one of the best skills that we actually teach in a transit home.
Now, so based we have asked questionnaires to respondents age ranging from 15 to 60 years old about their opinion on poverty and transit homes. So we can see that based on our finding, 62% of people agree, 62% of respondents, agree that youth empowerment program can help break the cycle of poverty. And 94% of them also agrees that transit homes should include life skills and career program preparation. So what does this conclude to? So by increasing access to employment opportunities and encouraging personal growth, young people are better positioned to achieve financial stability and they can turn the luck of their families. Life skills program can teach essential competencies such as financial management, communication, problem solving, and time management to enhance their sustainability in economic hardships. Okay, so to put it simply, a fortified sanctuary serves as a safe and structured preparation for breaking the cycle of poverty, providing the youth with stability, protection, and essential life skills. Our research also highlights the importance of guidance among the youth. So ultimately, the sanctuary is a launchpad that empowers youth to move from vulnerability to independence, turning survival into self-reliance, and turning from poverty into opportunity. So these are our citations, as you can see. And that is all from us. Thank you.
Certainly. Now I would like to open a Q&A session for the judges.
All right. Based on the presentation just now, your transit home provide hands-on experience and opportunities in employment for the youth, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
that's right.
However, the main problem or issue is about the budget. How can we address about the issue?
So like my presenter have said, the transit homes will be fully funded by the government. So we'll be working as a team with the Malaysian government to end poverty in Malaysia.
Okay, I thought it was a really interesting mechanism to
Thank
actually
you.
combat
you.
poverty in Malaysia. My question is it a model that is already out there, or is it, what I mean is that, has there been an actual transit home out there, or is it just conceptual, as in that you are proposing it?
Yes. The idea of transit homes have been something that has been around for a long time. So yeah, as I stated before, it's a place where the poor can stay until they can actually get back on their feet, so that until they can actually live their life. When they live their life, they leave the transit home. That's already something that is happening right now. But the thing that's not happening right now is the education that they are teaching. Okay, there's no education sector in the transit homes, and that's what we're trying to implement today, so that in 30 years prior, not many, we can drop the 16.7% of poverty, we can drop it to at least 5%. That is a good change, all right? Even though, yes, it's not zero, but it's something. And that's what we want, change into a more positive and bright future for our younger generations and also us.
Are there any examples of an existing transit homes in Malaysia that you managed to find?
There's one transit home in Kuala Lumpur actually. You can search up transit home in Kuala Lumpur and there are actual results. But yeah, that's what we're trying to point out. They do not teach the education that we said just now. So the education, yes, is a suggestion that, yeah, the teaching of the life skills is a suggestion that we think is very impactful for the youth.
All right. Thank you very much for the enlightening and teaching us the importance of transit homes.
Yes.
And thank you very
Yes,
much.
because we do not want the youth that are poor and academically low to like be left behind. We want everyone to rise up, because it's not something that like we can work as a team. The lower class and the middle class and the upper class can work as a team to survive in this world, because we are there for each other. Okay,
Exactly.
that's
and-
yes,
think
that's
that's
the
it.
principle of boy.
Okay.
Be there for each other. Right.
All right. Thank you very much. We applaud you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where's the
Thank you, Mak Tak Tentera Diraja.
Now, I would like to invite the fifth team, Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuching Utara, to present.
Digital divide. Folks, despite living in the year 2026, poverty due to digital divide still remains a large problem, especially in Sarawak. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And this splendid morning, I bid to the floor of judges, reporter, moderator, timekeepers, and fellow audience. Introducing our team, me, myself, Kais Umar Sofian, as the presenter,
Me, Christabella Pearl, as the second presenter.
Dayang Dia Azahra as technical assistant, and Madam Eda as our supervising teacher. We are representatives from SM Science Kuching Utara, ready to present Versus 2026 under SDG 1, No Poverty, with the title Prevailing Poverty.
Youth interdisciplinary exploration of the community's digital divide.
Let's jump right in. So by this point, I've said the phrase digital divide twice, but what does it actually mean? Digital divide is inequitable access to and use of digital technology, encompassing four interrelated dimensions, being motivational, material, skills, and usage access. Okay, so now we know what it means. What is the correlation? What does digital divide have to do with poverty? To answer this, let's take a look at the problem statement above. Many rural communities in Sarawak continue to build businesses rooted in local knowledge and cultural traditions. Despite their talent, they remain disconnected from the digital marketplace, causing a severe loss in their income. They often rely on middlemen, only getting a fraction of their product's true value. However, when diving deeper into this, it is found that this issue is not due to lack of digital access, but lack of digital skills and literacy, thus creating a digital divide.
Now, to further prove our problem statement, let's take a look at this newspaper excerpt right here. So according to the Sarawak Tribune, even where internet access is still available, many rural entrepreneurs, especially older and indigenous communities, still lack access to smartphones, digital skills, and also the knowledge to use online business platforms. So as a result, the digital participation remains much higher in urban areas compared to rural areas, highlighting the ongoing digital divide between urban and rural entrepreneurs. So how does this relate with our problem statement? Well, this relates with our problem statement by showing that these rural entrepreneurs are illiterate and unfamiliar with e-commerce. It also shows that a majority of the digital market is conquered by urban entrepreneurs.
Okay, now the problem is clear. We know the problem. What is the solution? Introducing our solution, youth-led workshops. Workshops led by youth to teach digital marketing and digital literacy to these rural communities in Sarawak so that they can get on the digital market and end poverty in Sarawak.
Now, moving on to the objectives. So what are our objectives and what do we want to achieve? So we have three objectives, which are first, marketing, secondly, skills training, and last but not least, networking. So now let's pay our attention to our first objective, which is marketing, which aims to enhance the marketing abilities of the low-income entrepreneurs. For example, we can help teach the entrepreneurs to use apps like Facebook and TikTok to promote their products, as well as creating attractive posts to attract more customers. Next is skills training, where we aim to equip the low-income entrepreneurs with valuable skills to earn more income. Well, we can actually organize workshops to help these entrepreneurs use WhatsApp business, QR payments, as well as online selling platforms. And last but not least, our third objective, which is networking, which is to build sustainable networks as well as collaboration for the entrepreneurs. To exemplify, we can help these entrepreneurs connect by collaborating with business mentors as well as youth volunteers so that they can gain support and increase their business opportunities.
Okay, so the biggest question here is on youth. Why youth? Why does it have to be youth? Why can't it be other people? Simple. As youths, we are more exposed to digital literacy and skills. It has almost become like a normal part of our lives.
Therefore, a larger amount of youths are able to commit to actively educate and volunteer or participate in overcoming this digital divide. So now let us take a look at the research and methodology. We have done an interview, conducted a survey, referred to government websites, as well as looked at newspaper articles.
Ladies and gentlemen, taking a look at the interview that we've done here, the person you see on screen right now is the head director of SPL Food Industries, or Sambal Parliament Food Industries. SPL Food Industries is a food industry that specializes in selling products produced in Sarawak, most famous for selling gula apung. Basically, this person right here is the middleman stated earlier in the problem statement. Now, what we found out is first problems in the supply chain. Problems in the supply chain. The middleman stated that he and his teams are the one doing the marketing and branding as well as the packaging. This further highlights that the villagers or the producers itself know little to nothing about digital marketing. Secondly, validation of the youth program. The middleman states that when a fully equipped business system has been created after the villagers or the producers have gone through the youth-led workshop, then he will be willing to collaborate with them as collaborative business partners. He also stated that our solution will give a good impact towards the villagers. Lastly, critical problems in project viability. The middleman stated that this project can only really come to life when a good enough budget is given as well as good enough commitment from the people involved. Back to you, Krista, for the survey analysis.
Thank you, Ma. So now we'll pay our attention to the survey analysis. So the survey was held to gauge the willingness of the youth to see whether they would volunteer in programs that would help bridge the digital gap as well as support the low income entrepreneurs in Sarawak. So now let's take a look at the survey analysis, starting from the respondents' age, which mostly consists of respondents from age 13 to 18, targeting youths. Next, let's take a look at the youth's willingness to participate. So we found that over 80% of the respondents show a positive response towards their willingness to participate in these programs. And last but not least is the youth's willingness to collaborate. So we found that over 90% of the respondents show a positive response towards their willingness to collaborate with other volunteers in actualizing this program. So this is the statistics for our survey. So as you can see here is the bar chart that represents the respondents' age. And secondly, here is the donut chart, which shows the youth willingness to volunteer in outreach programs. And last but not least is the pie chart that shows the youth willingness to collaborate with other volunteers.
So these are other sources that we look into, including government websites as well as newspaper articles. Okay, so before ending our presentation for today, we would like to talk about two organizations that can help in making this dream a reality. Firstly, Tabung Ekonomi Gagasan Anak Sarawak, or better known as TEGAS, was established in 2012 as a charitable trust that promotes TVET and STEM education. This company also encourages digital innovation and entrepreneurship among Sarawakian youth. So TEGAS has this initiative called the TEGAS Bersama Community Initiative, where they can provide the travel grants as well as the digital hotspots needed to make this program a reality.
On the other hand, I will talk about Sarawak Digital Economy Corporation Berhad, or also known as SDEC. So what is SDEC? SDEC is a wholly owned company by the Sarawak government established to drive and accelerate the digital transformation of Sarawak. And one of the main roles of SDEC is to actually promote the adoption of digital technologies among businesses and communities. By collaborating with SDEC, through the Sarawak Digital Champion, by recruiting and training youth as digital champions, these youths can deliver hands-on digital literacy workshops and provide ongoing mentoring to these low-income entrepreneurs in Sarawak. Before I end this presentation, let me conclude our presentation for today. In conclusion, poverty in Sarawak can be prevailed through youth-led digital empowerment. By equipping low-income entrepreneurs through digital skills and also collaborative organization, these youths can help business grow, increase household incomes, strengthen local communities, as well as create a sustainable and digital inclusive economy for Sarawak. Well, before I end, let me ask you a question. Will we be the generation that watches the digital divide grow, or will we be the generation that bridges it? Therefore, I urge all the youths to empower, inspire, and transform lives through digital innovation.
So that is all from us, and with that, we bid thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. It's a very wonderful presentation you have there. And I'm really interested in this particular one as well, because you shed lights on what it's like in your area, which is in Sarawak. You talk about the divide between rural and urban, and then you ultimately you're trying to empower youth, isn't it? My question is, so I would like us all to take a step back a little bit, because that's where my question will come in. Just curious, how did you come up with the topic of digital divide? How did you come to a consensus that, you know what, let's do a research, a mini research on digital divide? Can you walk us through that journey together, please?
So thank you for the question. Okay, so originally we wanted to talk about education, where there was a lot of problems in Sarawak about school dropouts and so on and so forth. But then we found out that Sarawak actually has a lot of products being sold at these rural areas, such as buah kumbu, gula apung, so etc. So these products are not being sold on the digital marketplace. They are not being if they are being sold on the digital marketplace, it is not being sold by them directly. It is sold by middlemen. So we wanted to talk about this topic, and we wanted to show this problem as a serious issue. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That answers my question as well. Any more questions from the panel?
Hi, good morning. Okay, I noticed that most of the respondents actually show positive support. They show support, and they are willing to join your outreach program. Am I right? However, I noticed that there is a small number of respondents actually say that they are not willing to participate in the program. Now, in your opinion, what do you think you can do to empower them to join the program or contribute to the society? Thank you.
Apa lah mau dijawab? Apa yang mau dijawab? Apa yang mau dijawab?
So thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. So yes, there are a glimpse of people that don't want to be involved with this. But we know as youths, we have friend groups, we have friends. So when someone else in the friend group want to actively volunteer in these programs, the other people that originally didn't want to, they will feel like, oh, I want to join this program as well. It seems fun, right? So this will increase the number of volunteers willing to actively educate the rural communities in Sarawak about digital literacy and marketing.
And to add in, we know that youths nowadays have this behavior of fear of missing out. And we also know that youths are active in social media. So whenever these youths participate in programs, I'm sure that they will post this in their respective social media accounts. So when their friend groups take a look at their story or post, they will feel the need to be included as well. So I'm sure from that, the youths will participate in these programs. Yes.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuching Utara.
Thank you for the informative and thought-provoking presentation from all schools. And thank you, judges, for your time. May the findings that we acquire today drive us to be the youth that can break the barriers to end poverty. Thank you.